Welcome back to the Dare to Rest podcast. This episode is so special. The not having kids convo. This is an episode I originally did with my dear friend and soul sister, Laura. It was first recorded for her podcast. And I thought, you know what? It's so fucking good. I want it on my podcast as well. So the introduction to this podcast will be made by my friend Laura, because as I said, it originally came from her podcast. I first thought, I'll do my own introduction, but she fucking nailed it. And why then? So I hope you're going to receive this precious conversation, which is so vulnerable to me, to Laura, so close to our hearts. I hope you want to stay for the long journey of this episode. I hope you feel it. I hope you want to share it with someone you love, with someone who has kids, someone who doesn't, because this really is a conversation that the world needs to hear. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you so much for tuning in once again on the Dare to Rest podcast. I absolutely adore having you here.
Hello, and welcome back to the Paolo podcast. This episode is... I'm not even sure how I'm going to describe this episode to you before we just dive into it. In this episode, my bestie and I, we are touching upon the topic of being child-free by choice. We are going to dive deep into the consequences that both of us live with voluntarily for having chosen a life without children. I also just want to say that right here, this is not an episode that's going to talk about kids are bad or anything. This is just to show a side of the story that both of us don't feel like is shown often and not nearly enough. So our aim with this episode is to be a voice, is to share for all of those out there, all the women out there who are feeling wrong for not choosing the quote-unquote supposed to path of motherhood. This episode is raw, it's honest, it's vulnerable. I share some of my biggest heartbreaks, and I don't do it with dry eyes. Let me just say that. And Mette is also sharing some of her heartbreaks that this choice has had as a ripple effect. Now, this is in no way, shape, or form a poor us, we struggle so much kind of episode. This is not to play into any victim mentality, but to truly show you what happens in the life of a woman who's chosen not to have children. What are we facing, and how are we navigating it? If that feels triggering to you, you're more than welcome to sit this one out, and we'll see you in the next episode. But maybe this is just the episode for you or for your friend. So I also want to encourage you and ask you to send this to a friend who is child-free by choice and might sometimes be struggling. Let her know she's not alone. So hello and welcome back to the Paolo podcast. Today, I have one of my best friends in the studio, and we are going to have a real raw and honest conversation on mic, which we often have off the mic. We are having a conversation today of what it means to have chosen a life without children as a woman. And in the beginning, our intention was we were going to do like a high vibe episode. It's going to be all fun and dandy. And both of us are not there today. Both of us are in a state of vulnerable and raw. And this is what we're bringing to the table. This is not a conversation about what you should do or what's right or wrong. This is a conversation about our life choice that brought us together in the first time we met each other. It's a conversation about a different way of having your life, a different way than you are quote unquote supposed to, and what that has entailed for us over the years. So, welcome to the studio, Mitte.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel so much in my body right now because we both know that this is a very vulnerable topic. And heck, I think I might even start to cry today. But let's see. But I totally get you with the real raw honesty that we want to bring to the table. Not only just to normalize what it is and what it means to be a woman who have chosen not to have children, but also we want to give voice to this minority because it is such a vulnerable and hard decision to make, and we face that decision in our life every single day due to the way our society is. And I'm not saying that because we feel like we're losing in the game of life. It's just, this is so different, and we wanna share our stories.
Yeah, and I'm tearing up already. I feel like this is such a raw conversation for me. It's a hard conversation for me to hold because this is the thing I have been most judged for in my life. This is the thing I have been feeling most alienated, most wrong about. This is the thing that people have been judging me for to my face in many different ways. And this is also what has brought me the most heartbreaks. So I honestly don't want to do this conversation.
Same. But we're doing it. I have full body chills, and yeah, everything in my body is telling me to run away from this, but we're doing this because the world needs to hear this.
Yeah.
And this is the stories that we both needed at a time in our life, and it wasn't there. So we're really trying to lead with that. And I guess, Laura, should we tell people how and why we met?
Yes. Will you share the side of your story?
Okay.
The side of the story.
Yeah. So I think it goes back 8-10-ish years back when Facebook first built those community portals. And we were both following an influencer who created this group on Facebook. And since communities was new then, it was actually back then when we were actually engaged in all the damn Facebook group that we are now a part of. And I remember I saw this very vulnerable post from a girl called Laura, and she wrote something like, "Fuck, I think it's so difficult to be a woman who have decided not to have children. Does anybody recognize this?" And I was like, yes, yes, me. And not coming from a place of, I wanted to pity you or comfort you. I just wrote back to you and offered a space of saying, if you ever need someone who gets you, reach out. That's what I remember. What do you remember?
I remember very similar. I remember, and then you texted me and you were Danish. This group was a big international group. And I remember a few women wrote back, actually. And it was a safe space to share, so that was beautiful. To have an experience to be seen. It was my first experience of actually being met in my desire not to have children. I've never had that before. I've only had like friends saying, okay, that's your choice, but no one has ever understood it before. So several women were reaching out in the comments thread, and I remember you reached out in a personal note. And I saw you were in north of Copenhagen, and I was like, oh shit, she's close. Awesome. So for me, like that first meeting, of course, the feeling of being held was amazing, but also the feeling of I was held by someone who was in my proximity, who wasn't just like a random woman in the States. She was like, you were right here.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really beautiful. And I thought it was very beautiful that we met in a space where I have never been met before. So that's where our friendship started.
Yeah, and adding on to that, so we had some back and forth, I think, and then we didn't really talk for years. And then we randomly met again because life apparently wanted us to to end up together. And I really also like that part of the story, that that wasn't the only reason why we are so close that we are now. It was just that was the first meeting point, and it led to something more. So we didn't only become the way we are today because we have that in common, but because there's so much more. And I really like that. So it wasn't like, oh, we have to be together, it's you and me against the world. It's just another beautiful thing that connects us and helps us understand each other.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, within a few years of just being Facebook friends, and then we joined the same mastermind. We were like, "Hey, there you are again! Awesome!"
Yeah.
And we started to pick it up from there with the work dates, and yeah, and since then we've had a lot of conversations on this topic.
We have.
Yeah.
And as Laura said initially, we've been talking about doing this podcast for a year and a half, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like since I started this podcast in October 2022, I think.
Yeah.
So pretty much since then, and now we have January of 2025.
Yeah. Do you think maybe we should tell people a little bit about who we are, like age-wise and stuff? Okay, so I think I'll just go first. So I am 39, soon to be 40. Woohoo! And I have a husband who I've been with for more than 20 years. And luckily, you can say he didn't want children either, but I've actually always known that it was not for me. So it's not because I can't, it's not because I don't have a man. It's simply me not having the desire to have children in my life. And it's not that I dislike children, that I don't think that there should be any children in the world, that I don't think children are adorable and fun. I have no hate against them. I just have no desire to have that child of my own.
You just don't want one of them.
Exactly. They're fun. I have 3 awesome nephews who I love to death. And I love spending time with them. But I've also always had that feeling of, I'm so happy that I can just say enough is enough. Yeah. And throughout my life, probably also because I have been with my husband for so long, ever since my early 20s, I had the question, when are you having children? Why don't you have any kids? It's this deep, innate belief, I guess, in all of us in society in general, that it's just something we have to have. So I've been faced with the question and the wonders and and we're going to go into that when you've told your story as well, I guess, some of all the things that we've had to face with our choice. But it's just, it's something that you are faced with more or less every single day, having made this choice. And I'm not saying that because I feel my choice is wrong. It's just, wow. It takes up so much space. It's not like saying, okay, I don't want a cat, and then you just made that decision. That's it. It comes up all the freaking time. And I want to say some more about that, but I think maybe a little bit about your story, and then we go into all the juiciness of this.
Yeah, absolutely. So at recording time, I'm 34 and I am single. And not wanting kids has been the primary reason for my last 2 breakups, which has left me heartbroken. The biggest love of my life, he left me because I didn't want to be a mom. And it still hurts, to be honest. Because it's just such a fundamental thing I can't change. And I've always known. I normally, when I share this story, I joke about it. And I jokingly say that I knew didn't want kids since I was in kindergarten, because I used to play, when you play house, you play mom, dad, and kids. I used to play mom, dad, no kids, because kids were annoying, even when I was the kid. So that's just like, I normally say that as a joke, but it's so true. I've never had that urge. Of course, I've been playing with dolls, like, because girls always, quote unquote, have to do that, or at least in my generation, they had to. But I've never had the desire. I've never had the feeling looking into a, what's that called in English? A baby carrot.
Yeah.
Pram or something. I don't know. Like, I've never looked at a baby and be like, oh, I can't wait to have my own. I've never looked at like beautiful pictures of families and be like, oh, that sounds so lovely. I've looked at it and sound, oh, that sounds tough. That sounds hard. That sounds like that is a lot of noise. They make a lot of noise. They like, oh, they're very annoying. They are like the life you kind of have to live with the structures and the daily routines, and that sounds shit. So it's not like I don't like the kids. It's that I don't like the life that you hold to have the kids. I don't want a life where I have to get them up in school. I don't want to pack school lunches. I don't want to go to a soccer game. I don't want to spend time on the board in the school. Like, I don't want any of those things. And it's led to so much heartbreak in my life. And it led me to feel so deeply misunderstood in my life by pretty much everyone. And like we can go into that, like what we've heard of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's do that.
So the classic one is, for me at least, being single, my classic one is, you'll know when you meet the right one. If I knew when I met the right one, I would be married to him today with kids. Because both of these men who broke my heart, they both have kids and wives today. I don't know if they're married, but they both have kids and partners today. And that would have been me if I would have wanted it. But instead of choosing what you're quote unquote supposed to, I chose what I desire, and it broke my heart over and over, and I still choose it. Because I have this firm belief that if it is not a full body fuck, yes, that's my deepest desire, don't have a kid.
True.
Don't have a kid. And I love the quote from Elizabeth Gilbert, who says, getting a kid is kind of like getting a tattoo on your forehead. You want to be fully committed.
I've never heard that one. That's fucking epic.
And it's so true. Like, you want to be fully committed. No kids deserve to come into this world not being that greeted and committed and chosen, I find.
So what else have you heard?
Oh my God, what haven't I heard? So, when you meet him, just wait until your ovaries start turning on you. Yeah, you're nodding. Okay, those are the body clock thing and the single things. And then there's stuff like, well, that's the point of womanhood. You're not a real woman unless you give birth.
Yeah.
Which is like, well, fuck you. And for all the women who can't, for all the women who are infertile and who are child-free without wanting to, what about them? Are they not real women? You'll never experience true love.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna regret it.
You're gonna regret it. You're gonna be lonely when you get old.
And who's gonna take care of you?
You're gonna die alone.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna die alone.
Yeah. And we're saying this both with a little bit of a sarcastic note, but also, can you imagine what it does to be met like that in a choice that was, I think though both Laura and I are very clear in our choice, it's still a difficult choice to make.
It's still a difficult choice.
So being met with those comments are heart-shattering every single time. It would be the equivalent of us saying every time we see you with your children, why the fuck did you do it?
Aren't you sorry you did that? Oh my God, you're going to regret that. Oh, they're so expensive. They're going to give you constant worry. Oh my God, and they're sick all the time. And now you're going to get less paid. Girl, what are you doing? Your pension is going to be lowered. You can't have a retirement fund. Like, what if we went like the opposite way?
Yeah. But we don't, because we understand. I seriously understand why people get children.
Yeah, me too.
But I also know that it's their choice and they get to have it. I have the exact same experience as you. I didn't really play with dolls as a child though. Barbie dolls, yes, but I think that's a different kind of dolls, because that was more woman lifing. It wasn't I wanted to tend to a small baby. I was not that girl. I played with Lego and I had fun with that. Lego and Barbie dolls. But yeah, it's life be lifing.
Truly. And for me, like, some of the comments, they come as, like, I don't judge people for the comments, because it's also what society brought us up. It's also what has been shown in movies. And, like, it's always happily ever after they get married and have kids. Like, we are brought up to think of this. So it's not that I'm mad at people who've said this, because I see the society conditioning us to say that to women. And I've you know the story, I've been met by the most gruesome thing I've had happen to me was I did a course to study to be a psychotherapist. I did like the introduction studies for it. It was a weekend. It was a paid thing. I think it was about $600-700. It was a lot of money for me. And it was one of my first ever encounters with the self-development space and the self-growth journey. And I was in the course, and it felt weird. It felt like it wasn't really my space, but I thought, like, I'll pay it. I'm going to do this course. And at the end of the second day, because I refused in class to share about my sexual preferences by making it a drawing, I had to draw a drawing and tell about what is my deepest sexual desires. And as I refused that, he started to ask me questions about my womanhood. And he asked me questions if I want kids. And I said, no, I don't want kids. And then the owner of this establishment looked me in the eyes and said, well, if you don't want kids, it's either because you're so damaged by what has happened to you in your life, or you're a genetic flaw.
Thank you.
Thank you. Middle-aged white man. Not stereotypical, like, not to be stereotypical, but he was just like, everything wrong with women making their own choices. And I remember it just hit me like a frying pan to my face, and my body were in so utter shock. I just sat there, numbed, frozen. And a woman in the class, who I just have so much love for her, she stood up and started yelling at him. And she was like, what are you doing? You can't say that to another woman. And I just froze and cried. I couldn't even speak because I was so in shock. At this point in my journey, I was still recovering from severe anxiety. I was still recovering from choosing a different life. That was at the time of my life where I was crippled by anxiety, in the wrong relationship, in the wrong apartment, in the wrong job, and I let everything go at once. So I was starting to find my bearings, and this is what I was met with. And he'd never apologized. He just said, well, that's just biology. That's your biology. If you don't want a kid as a woman, you're damaged by society, or you're a genetic flaw.
Yeah.
And I remember coming home, and my gay bestie, he was here visiting me, and I just come in the door and I just fall to the floor and I cry. Because it's the thing that I've had the most struggle with accepting in myself. And it's not because there's this deep underlying desire of maybe somewhere I wish it deep inside. It's because I wish I wished it.
Yeah.
I wish I wanted kids. My life would be so much easier. I would be with my love of my life right now. Or the guy who so far in my journey has been the love of my life. I wish I was normal and wanted this. And this is still a wound that's very open in my heart.
Yeah.
And what a way to make me feel like a very wrong woman.
Yeah. And I really just want to thank you for sharing that, because this is actually exactly why we want to have this conversation. Please help us normalize that not all women want children. Do not make us wrong for it. Do not question us. You can be curious, because I think both Laura and I have this feeling that we actually want to talk about this in an open and curious way, but we don't want to be questioned. We don't want to be wronged. So I'm more than happy to share my story, share my beliefs, why I feel the way I feel, but also honestly to heart, I cannot explain why I don't want children. There's not this, I haven't had a traumatic something in my life. I haven't done it to try to, I don't know, as a comeback to my parents for not giving me the childhood I wanted. It's just, I do not have the desire. It would be the equivalent of me explaining, why do I get thirsty or why don't I get thirsty? It's just, it's there or it's not.
Exactly.
It's so deep, and I just want to run and hug you right now. As
We'll
tears
hug
is-
after we close the mic.
as tears are streaming down your face. But yeah, it's just it's vulnerable, and it's not easy. It really isn't. And I'm not saying that because I want pity, because I stand for my choice, and I want to live with the consequences, but I also want to have this conversation to start evening out those consequences, because I don't think it's, I want to say fair, but it's not really the right word. But yeah, it's something else.
I think just also to break with the narrative that if you don't want kids because you hate kids and you're mean, or you're selfish for not wanting kids, and it's like, you're selfish for wanting kids. It's a selfish act. It's a selfish action to get kids because it's for your sake. And it's a selfish action to not have kids because it's also for my sake. Like, so yeah.
So can we just agree that none of us are selfish? We just have desires.
Exactly. Just like you want to live in the countryside, I do not want to live in the countryside. I want to live in the smack down city center.
Yeah.
And you don't. And it's just different desires. But those we don't have to fight about in the same way.
And coming back to that, you asked me a question a few weeks ago, which also initiated us saying, okay, so now it's time to have this conversation. And part of my reply to you, because we were talking about this, do I ever feel wrong for not having the desire to have children? And I honestly said that, well, yeah, sometimes I still get that. It's not a doubt. It's more being in the face of the conditioning that we have makes me question, have I made the right choice? Do I have a reason for not wanting children that are somehow valid, quote unquote, enough? And I also said to you, I think that despite the fact that we do not want children, there still is something in the female biology that drives us. We know that we can give birth to life. And we can give birth to life not only in human form, but in so many other creative forms. But I think the fact that we have this innate knowing, our body knows it can do it, that's also what propels the doubt at times. So yes, there definitely is a biological factor in this as well, and the whole societal aspect of that's what it takes to be a correct woman.
Yeah. Oh my God. The right way to woman. It could also be a podcast. What's the right way to woman? Like, you cannot woman right anyway. Like, the internet is going to kill you for anything anyway.
Yeah.
Being too thick or too thin or too tall or too loud or too noisy or too whatever. And yeah, like, for me, it's to bring forth this, like, to share. Choosing not to have kids is not an easy choice. And in my experience and opinion, those of us who choose no, we have thought about it more than you who choose yes.
For sure. For sure.
Let's just take that for a moment. Like, we haven't just woken up one day and like, nah, maybe not. We have woken up day upon day upon day upon day about re-choosing. Yeah, I still don't want to do it. I still don't want to fit into that norm. I still don't want to have kids. Today I also don't want it, and I also don't want it. And for years, I was so ashamed to even say it. Mm-hmm. For years, I think up until I broke up with my last, not my last boyfriend, my boyfriend before that. I broke up with a partner I had when I had anxiety back in 2016, 17-ish. And I remember after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to voice this out loud. And even to him, I've said, I don't want kids. And he was like, yeah, you're going to love me so much that you want to have my kids, which is so arrogant because it's not about him. It's about me. So yeah, we weren't a match. But like,
Big surprise.
Big surprise. But I'm so upfront about it that I don't want kids. And when I'm dating, I think it's so hard, and I'm scared every time I say it. I'm scared every time I go on a date, and I'm like, I don't want kids. And I'm still at a point where I say I don't want kids. I don't know if it will ever change. I doubt it, because the desire to have kids have like decreased over the years. In the beginning, my early 20s, I thought at some point I probably would have wanted it. And it's just less and less and less. And the more I see my friends are popping baby left, right, and center, the more I see them as moms, the less I want kids. And even though I have a baby niece who's 2 years old, who I love to death, I want to give her back when she screams.
Oh, yes. And when her diaper needs to change.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's another fun thing. And I don't know if people think about this, but in order for us to define ourselves and the choice that we've made to not have children, we actually have to define ourselves through what we are not. So I cannot tell you in any way with a singular word that I am a woman who have made a conscious choice, not from any biological mismatch or anything, that I do not want children. It would be the equivalent of gay people not being able to say that they were gay with a single word. That they would have to say, I am...
And not straight person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not straight person. So we can't even define ourselves and our choice by telling you what we are. We have to say what we are not. And that's also very difficult, because that's somehow confronting, because when we don't have a singular word for it, we also smack that in the face of others saying not children. And if you guys have had the choice of saying yes to children, that will activate your inner warrior, the choice that you have made, which also leaves this constant battle. I, especially because I had my husband all throughout my 20s, my early 30s, and still have him, but I really feel I had this phase in my life from like being 24 until 36-ish, where I had the question so often, do you have children? Why don't you have children? And I was so on the fence. I always expected people to ask me some of all those horrible questions, or their comeback would be those, you're gonna regret it, who's gonna take care of you when you're old, you're not a real woman, you'll never experience real love, all the things. It left me in this constant need to stand up for myself, in a constant struggle, and in a world where we also all really much are focusing on being less and less in survival mode, always having to really, I want to say combat, like my inner warrior, she just woke up, like fences up, swords out. It wasn't until I think my early 30s that I met someone who was like, I respect your choice. And I almost fell off my freaking chair because I had never, ever, ever met that before. And you said earlier something about a white man saying something horrible to you. My experience is actually I've had the most struggles, again, quote unquote, with women. More often than not, it's men who say, I actually get that. Which is, it might make sense, it might not, but I was, again, a little bit surprised by being met more easily from a man than from a woman. But I guess that is because, again, it is actually us going against the grain. So it's just easier to identify as what it is that we are not.
Yeah. And that's so true. And like you brought that to my attention. It's not something that I have ever thought about myself. But once you said it, I've been like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, that sucks. So even the language is inviting us to fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the language is telling us guards up.
Yep.
And your experience of having your warrior ready, like me too. Literally every time my warrior, she's not even sleeping. She's right there.
Mm-hmm.
She's right. Like you give me one argument and I'm gonna slay it. Like I've practiced this shit because I felt like I had to battle up for this. Mm-hmm. If I have to go through life being picked at every single encounter with new humans, I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna find jokes. I'm gonna make it funny. I'm gonna take power into my own hands. I'm gonna find a way to make me interesting and funny and edgy for not wanting kids instead of just like honoring it. But because those times where I have actually honored it, I have been bulldozed by other people's projections and it hurts. And at some point you just get so freaking sick of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've definitely been arguing way before I had to. I remember I told one of my good friends who I've known for ages, I told him like 4 years ago. And he said, oh, you don't want kids, Loopy? And I was like, no, because... And he was like, hey, it's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, sorry.
Yeah. So can we just, for our own sake and everyone else who has made the same choice as us, if we seem edgy when you ask, just know that you are not the first one who has asked or questioned us. So it comes from a wounded place if we come off harsh and wounded. Yeah, because that's what we are, basically.
Yeah. And I was just about to say, and we're sorry, but like, I'm sorry the society has conditioned all of us to alienate some women being less than others.
Yeah.
So I want to like bring back up of being lovingly curious, because you said earlier, we both want to talk about it. Like, I for sure want to talk about it. We are on a podcast talking about it. Like, I want to talk about it. I want to share my opinion, thoughts, and feelings. I want to tell you about what's going on in my head and how I made the choice. Yes, I will. And I want to hear how you made the choice to have kids if you chose to. But we gotta open it gently. Because as you just said, a lot of us who have chosen this child-free life, we have a lot of bruises.
Oh, yes.
Going through life this way. So just like you would be gentle to someone with a broken arm, enter this gently. Enter this saying, wow, that must have been a tough decision. Can I ask you about it?
Yeah.
That's the most simple script you can ever have. That sounds like a really tough choice. Will you tell me more?
Mm-hmm.
Show us your curiosity. Show us your heart. Instead of attacking us with what we quote unquote should.
Yeah. So mutual understanding is what we're aiming for. And I also hope you all feel that this is not us wanting to alienate ourselves even more, but we really just want to open up and share some of the difficult aspects. And I know you've shared one of your biggest pains so far, and I'm choking up already, because I think maybe it's time I also tell what some of my biggest struggles are, apart from, of course, being questioned. And I know you feel this too, and I know it's we all feel this. But being a child-free by choice woman, again, I can't say
It's a
what I
shit word.
am that I'm
Yep.
not. What you have to face when it comes to your friendships is fucking hard. And it's hard in the way that whenever your group of girlfriends, they start having children, you are so happy for them. I'm genuinely happy for all of my friends, current and previous friends, who decided to have children. But what happens when a woman has children is that that child tends to become the one and only thing in her life. And for good reason. It's not like I don't get it, because there's a lot of nurture and care and no sleep and all the things. But that's her perspective. And she's probably not loving it all the time either, but that's their story to tell. I'm going to tell you mine, because what I see from my perspective is that this woman that I love, this beautiful soul, she just disappears from my life. She starts to wither away, and all the beauty we had, there's no longer space for that. And I'm just left by that friend who I for once no longer recognize. But also because we don't really have those conversations up front saying like, okay, so I'm going to have a child now. And I know this is going to be hard. I love you. I'll see you in 2 years. It's just like we're dumped. We're dumped, and we're expected to stand there when they come back with their arms open, with our arms open wide, and say, yes, I still want you. But that's not the way it goes. And you can live with that when it's just one of your friends. But when they all do that, that's the most difficult phase of my entire life. Having seen those people that I love completely, as I said, like wither away to become this new version of themselves, and they are allowed to. But they created a life where I never felt they had room for me. That's fucking hard.
Yeah. And I myself am in it right now, because like I'm in my middle of the 30s. Everybody's popping babies, and I'm saying it as a joke because that's a way of protecting myself from the hurt that it is.
Yeah.
That my friends, if and when I see them, there's either a baby attached to their hip, and they are maybe 5% with me and 95% on baby duty, which again, it's not a criticism, it's a fact.
Yeah.
It's just facts. But it's the compounding effect of being the one, quote unquote, left behind.
Yeah.
Again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
And yes, that is also one of the consequences that we choose to bear. But that doesn't mean it's not heavy.
It's fucking heavy.
And it's lonely.
Yeah.
And it's sad. And there are a few of us who don't want kids. So, of course, we stick together like glue. But still, there are a few of us. And it's hard. I normally joke and I say, when one of my friends has a baby, they disappear for a year.
Yeah. And a year is not a lot. I'd say 3.
A year is the least. Yeah. Often my friends, they come out after a year, be like, oh, I need wine and a night out. And like, that's great. And I'm here for wine and a night out. But when it's all of your friends at the same time, that creates a lot of loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
And I have an idea, and that might be just because I'm looking at it from my perspective. But I think as a single woman, it's even harder because like I don't have a partner at home. I don't have someone to come home to at night yet. I know he's finding me and all that jazz. That's a different conversation. But I'm alone all the time. And having my girlfriends stripped away one by one, or when I meet with my girlfriends, they all have babies. So yeah, we're talking about which bra did you buy that feels really good for nursing, and what do you do with your nipples that hurt, and what about the? And I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
yeah,
The most misplaced I have ever felt in my life is when I join a baby shower, and I've done it twice in my life. The first one wasn't really that bad. It was small, it was family, it was acceptable. But the second time, it was a baby shower with a dear friend of mine at the time, and I cannot tell you how wrong I felt and how difficult it was to stay put in those conversations where I had no input, because they were talking diapers and which tools to use to like pull out the snot from the baby's nose, and I was like, does that even fucking exist? Like, who am I? What am I doing here? And in that in that moment, I just promised myself I'll never ever ever join a baby shower again. And of course, this is a little bit harsh, I know, because baby showers are different. But I also know that that's sort of the context. It's supposed to be about the baby showers, people sharing their birth stories, their pregnancy stories. And if you have none of that, like, what it would be like asking me how it will feel to have a hard-on or to ejaculate as a man. Like, I don't know. I cannot participate in this conversation. I cannot get this right. I can only listen. And there's no room for me in any of it. So I've never ever joined a baby shower since, and I'm not gonna, because it's just not my space. And I'm also 100% okay with that. But again, this is actually a joining of women coming together and sitting there being a woman, having none of those stories, not wanting any of those stories. Because if you wanted the children, you just hadn't had them yet, you would just be gaining wisdom. But for me, it was just nonsense. Like, I don't need this.
I don't want my head to know these things. Like, I know so many things of babies. Like, why do I know which cellular is good for your nipples? Why do I have that knowledge?
Yeah.
I don't care about that knowledge. What else could be in my head? I could know fun stuff instead.
And it's not that we don't want to know some of those facts, of course, but it's just if you're in a room where you cannot bring anything of yourself to the table, your sense of self-worth just crumbles immediately.
Exactly. It's like you can compare it with if you get into a room, or if I would go into a room of auto mechanics and they were only talking about car thingies all the time and how amazing this new station wagon was and whatever new fancy Ferrari, and they would talk about only car stuff. I don't know anything about cars. I don't have a car. I don't want a car. I love my bike and I love taking a taxi when I need it. I don't want it. I don't like. It's this like it's almost the same situation. You get into a room with, it might be people that you love. It might be the woman who is having a baby that you love, and then her friends.
Yeah.
And once again, I feel like I want to defend myself here and be like, we are not that bitchy. But it's once again, it's a compounded thing.
Yeah.
It's because it's not just about that one baby shower we go to a year. It's because it's the baby shower and the family birthdays and the friends night out and on a new date and with a new meet someone, and then you meet a friend's friend and you meet a new coworker. It's like, it's the compounding. It's always about the babies.
Yeah. Yeah, so we live in a society where child families are preferred and favored in so many ways. Small things like and I have no issue with it, but just again see it from a perspective of not having children, but like there are special parking lots for families.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that, they are worth more than me. That's actually what we say. I know we also have special parking places for disabled people, and I'm not saying again that this is wrong. It's just it's always someone else than us who's being
Highlighted.
giving that special advantage. Highlighted is a good word for it. And I'm not saying that it's not allowed. It's just it's in so many. It becomes obvious in so many ways once you start to see it.
Yeah, when you're not a part of it.
Yeah.
Like, of course, when you're a part of it, you don't notice it. You might be annoyed even. I remember a friend who was annoyed that one of the shops we have here in Denmark, the aisles were too narrow for her double baby wagon thingy. And I'm like, then don't take your baby wagon thingy into that store. Then visit the store a day where you don't have your babies with you. But that wasn't even an option in her head. In her option, the only option was the store made a bad interior design and they were like disencouraging moms for bringing their babies.
Yeah.
Or people get mad at restaurants if you aren't allowed to nurse there. Or people get mad that babies aren't allowed somewhere. And yes, I get that. And also, I get people's right to create a fancy restaurant where they don't want babies crying. Because they charge misleading prices. I don't know. Like, so I get both sides.
Yeah.
And what I experience is that if you are a parent, you often only get that parent side.
Yeah. And I would love to hear some of those conversations from parents as well. Like, how does this feel for you? So rather than just like complaining about it and wanting everyone to fit in, like, can we open up these dialogues so we have that mutual understanding of our differences? Because in that is also where we learn how to hold space for each other. And that's how love grows on this world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's behind any wound. And the wounds we're talking from today is like, there's just a scream for belonging and for connection and for being here together and for all of us to have a spot in this society where we are fully respected for our choices. Just like we respect someone for being an engineer and someone for being a school teacher and someone for being a nurse and someone for being a coach. Like we respect people's profession. It was a difficult word today. Why can't we respect their family choices in the same level? It's like we're the criminals of the families.
Yeah, somehow. And I think that brings me back to the wound that I I really just had to let go a little bit of. I think I'm back. My voice is clear. I think I can tell the rest of the story, because the thing that happens when you have those friends who just pop babies, like, I don't know, candy, popcorn. What happens is, and again, this was also a part in my journey where I wasn't as self-aware and didn't have the self-understanding, the communication skills that I do today. But I started protecting myself so much because I knew that wound of losing a friend whenever someone had a baby or another baby would mean less space for me, less space for us. So instead of trying to meet them and keep embracing them, it just became easier for me to pull back. It was easier just to say, if you are that, I don't have a space in your life. So rather than waiting for them to hurt me, not by conscious choice, but the situation, I just removed myself from the equation, protecting myself, isolating myself, only adding more up to that loneliness it feels to have made this choice. And there are definitely some friendships where I today sit back with a feeling of like, okay, I could have done so much better, but I also know that some of the friendships I've had to give up they were going to end there anyway. But that lack of ability to lead and carry myself and not being courageous enough at the time to have these conversations has led me to lose so many dear friends. And again, I'm not saying this to pity, it's the honest fact. And I want this to be better and easier for other people going forward, hence this conversation.
Yeah. I completely resonate. And I've lost so many friends to babies. And I've also been really conscious about who I choose to be with once they have babies. Because there is a big difference. Like, I luckily, and bless their heart, have women who are mothers who can still talk about not mother things. Mm-hmm. And then I had, past tense, friends who became mothers and could only talk about mother things. So I also think it's like, you just really get to see how much do you still have in common when your life changes drastically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sometimes it works beautifully, other times it don't. And it's not that I don't have friends who have kids and I don't want friends who have kids. Of course I do. But I also want friends who don't have kids. I like the balance of it.
Yeah.
I want to share a story. So I have my uni girls. We are 6 girls and 5 of them are moms now. Oh, the last one is waiting to birth in March, I think. So they're all moms. There is 8 babies in that 5 women span. And this August last year, the final one of them, she announced, oh, she's also pregnant. And I just broke down.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Yeah, I just broke down. Like, fuck, no, this was the last one. Mm-hmm. This was the last one, quote unquote, on my team. This was the last one who weren't talking about institutions or whatever. Aula, which is this Danish platform for where teachers talk to parents. Like, she was my last one. And it broke my heart when she announced it, because I felt like, okay, that's it. That is now them not needing me anymore. Mm-hmm. That was what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
And luckily, me and this amazing group of women, we aren't scared to talk about the hard stuff. So I shared that with them. And we cried together. And I shared, like, it's so tough for me because I'm really happy for you. And I also hate you for having babies because I miss you so much.
Yeah.
I miss going on a spontaneous night out. I miss calling you in the afternoon and you picking up the phone. Mm-hmm. I miss talking about life. I miss talking about your career. I miss hearing about what you find interesting in the world.
Your dreams.
Your passions. Instead of everything is being drowned in everyday hamster wheel life.
Yeah.
And I can honor and respect that's their choice at the same time as I can miss an old version of them. Mm-hmm. And we've had those conversations, which has been beautiful. And as a result, for me, when we do meet, I'm very honest with what I want and don't want. A few weeks back, they invited me, 3 of them and their babies. They were like, do you want to come this day? And we're going to serve something. And then the baby's all here. And I was like, no, I don't want to come. But thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
I don't have the space and energy for 3 babies. And they're like, great, cool. And nobody's mad because we have created this ability to talk about things. Mm-hmm. And I'm bringing this forward because I want to say, like, we get to be there, all of us, in unity. And yeah, sometimes I go and I'm with them, with their babies. One of them even texted me privately at one point, like, can you come and help me take care of my oldest when I tuck down my youngest, because my partner's out of time and I'm really scared of having baby put down time for the first time on my own. Can you help me? And yeah, of course I can. And I come over and I tuck your baby in and I play with him when you, like, yeah, I can. But like, it's not an assumed thing I want to do all the time because it's not my favorite thing. But of course I want to help you. Mm-hmm. It's not that I'm a monster who hates kids. It's that I'm a woman who chose differently.
Yeah, it's we chose the friend,
Yeah.
and the baby is a beautiful add-on, but I don't want my friendship with you being about your baby. My friendship is with you.
Yeah, you are a magnificent soul who I love and fell in love with at some point.
Yeah.
I want to know you.
Yeah.
And I also want to know you as the mom.
Yeah.
I want to know what goes on in your head and heart space here. Yes. But I don't just want to talk about teeny tiny baby all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about you and your feelings. And it can be your feelings about teeny tiny baby. But like, I don't care how he shits right now.
Yeah.
I don't care that he shat himself today. I don't care if he...
What he's eating.
I don't care what he's eating. I really don't care what he's eating. I don't care if he's picky. I care about how are you handling a tough situation?
Yeah.
How are you experiencing this? I care about you.
Yeah, your experience of motherhood, of
Yeah.
your ambitions for your children, how it's going with your partner, all of that
Yeah.
is so available for.
Exactly.
Yeah. And of course, we can also manage 2% of pure baby talk, but don't.
Yeah, of course we can talk about your baby. But like I remember I once made a parallel with my uni girls and I was like, yeah, it's like if I were gonna talk to you about sales tax and accounting. You probably want to hear, yeah, accounting is tough these days. I'm having struggle with this and that. But you don't want to hear me babble on for an entire day about how much I hate sales tax and how difficult it is to do it in my accounting system because I'm new to accounting. Like it takes a lot of my space. Like it takes a lot of my heart to do this thing right.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't want to hear about your babies. It's not that I hate your babies. Once again, it's just like, I love you.
Yeah.
As you said, I signed up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to add another angle to this. I feel like my body is feeling less tense by now. I don't know how long we've been talking, but I feel it's been a while. I also want to say that there's an evolution in this not having kids. So we talked a lot about how at least when a woman is, let's say again, from her mid-20s to her mid-30s, she will be questioned a lot and said like, oh, you're going to change your mind and all the things we talked about. But I've also come to realize in this phase of my life with my husband, where we're both around 40, our friends are 40 and 40 plus, starting to have older children. Here we are also faced with another, as a consequence of our choice, because we're also now realizing that our friends, and again, I'm not making this wrong in any way, but our friends prefer to hang out with other families who have children, because then the children have someone to play with. And I get that. But can you imagine already having gone through the consequences of your choice and saying, okay, I lived through the phase. Now it's just fun. But then you just meet another phase and go like,
Round 2.
okay, yeah, so let's meet this again. And now it's not that they don't love us. I know that they do, but it's in some situations, we cannot fulfill the need and the desire that they have. And again, I'm okay with that, but it's hard. It's really hard to reach out to someone and say, hey, you want to celebrate New Year's with us? And they go like, yeah, we're going to hang out with the friends who live down the road because they have children as well. And it's just easier that way. And I get it, but it's also fucking hard.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see where this is going to end up in the next round, because this is what we are facing right now, my husband and I. And we talk about it, and we've even started saying it to our friends just so that they know, not because we want them to like make different choices because they get to do whatever they want, but we just want to tell them that this is actually how it feels. And also when people have kids and small kids, at first, of course, we all know there's a lot of nurture, taking care of the children, all the lack of sleep, all the different things. But when the children get a little bit older, it's also, there's another pain that comes up here, because we see how they really start to shape their own family, and it's beautiful, and it's beautiful to watch. But being just two or single as you are, we also, it's like there's a shield around this family. It's family first, and that shield gets to be there, of course. But even in that, even in seeing that and saying, okay, so we're just two, or I'm just one me, you're again faced with the fact that, wow, I don't have that. Not because I wanted it, but I can't really be the core of that many people. And that's also, oh, it's like smack in your face. Again, it's okay. I'm completely happy with my choice. It's just to say that there's a pain in that as well, because we have that picture of that ideal family, and this is how it's supposed to be. And I see that, and I get it, and I still sometimes think, oh, I wish I had that for myself. And when I say that, it's not because I want the children, it's because I want that connection, that sense of being someone's preferred first choice, and not just the choice of my husband, because he can give me a lot, but we also know that no one person can ever give us everything that we want. And I think that's why we, as women without children by choice, we also we hook up, because that's what we can give each other, that immediate, you're my person. And this is, of course, not just for women, because men can also have chosen not to have children. But why people who have made this choice, they like to connect, because we just feel seen and understood, and we can give each other a little bit of that family vibe that we see other people build for themselves.
Yeah. I deeply resonate with that, because there's so many surprising moments in a child-free life where grief takes you. Where the grief of not having what you are quote unquote supposed to have, or what you thought you would have. Like for years I thought, yeah, I'm gonna grow up and I'm probably gonna want it. As I said earlier, like, I fucking wish I wanted kids. Oh, it must be so easy to want what you are supposed to want. I wish I wanted a life where I just worked a job from 9 to 5 and had a family. I wish I wanted that. Fuck me, that would have been easy.
It would have been a different kind of easy.
It would have
been a different kind of hard.
Yeah, exactly. It's just different. It's just, for me, having fought against the supposed to for so many years, it seems easy from where I'm sitting. I'm not going to diminish that living in a hamster wheel with kids is insane, which is why I don't want it. But but there's so many pieces of the puzzle, and for me, I just really want to show, like, it's so broad, it's so complex. We might bear extra wounds.
We just have wounds of our own. I think our moms and dads and parents have different types of wounds. And again, it's just, let's talk about these things so that we understand. I don't think we have more wounds. I think we have different wounds. I think a lot of parents look at the life that you and I lead and they go like, fuck, it must be easy for them to blah, blah, blah. It's so easy for them because they don't have children. You'll never get how hard it is for me because you don't have children.
True.
Absolutely true.
I will never get that.
It's a different type of easy and it's a different type of hard. And that's just what we have to accept.
Yeah, well said. That's very true.
I want to share one more story.
Yeah.
So I had this the friends. It was both a man and a woman, and they were they're both highly educated, high-paying jobs, have all the things. So they had children rather late. They were some of the latest friends of ours to have children. And when they had their first child, we were kind of close. We visited them. They lived abroad. We visited them. I did a lot of fun stuff together. When they had the first child, we saw that friendship slowly started to wither. Of course, also, as I said, because I, in self-protection, moved away, but also due to all the things that happen when you get your first child. So we hadn't really talked. We hadn't been as close. And then they had their second child. But we were still talking, but just not regularly. And then they had their second child. And I just remember thinking, I haven't seen these people for real in little more than a year or year and a half. So they gave me an invite to the baptism of their second child. And with the feeling of like, wow, I'm glad you're inviting me. I'm honored. I just had this inkling feeling, though it was really, really hard for me to say, no, I actually don't want to go. I don't just want to be a part of your life where it's about the child. Again, I chose you. So I don't just want to show up for your children's birthdays, for your children's baptisms and all these different things. And this was the stage in my life where like, I don't just want to try to fit in to whatever they can offer me. I'm just going to set a boundary. And then I said, thank you for inviting me. That means a lot, but I'm not going to come, or we're not going to come because my husband was invited as well. And because I said no in that way, without a reason, apart from saying no, I actually lost a friendship. The text I got back was, at least you're honest. And that was it. And I sat down and I tried to write an answer back so many times. But I was like, nope. If there's no room for my truth here, this is not for me. And I still love these people. I have so many fun memories with them. But no, I don't want to keep fighting to be me, to live in my choice. And that has consequences, and this was one of the consequences.
That's such a tough one. I remember you sharing that story the first time, and I remember my stomach being like, oh
Yeah.
no, I hope I never have to do that.
Yeah.
And like it's one of the fears, being not selected because of your truth, your choice and your truth. And it is tough. Because it's not that we don't want to celebrate your babies. It's just like we want to celebrate you.
Yeah, and if you don't really see people that often,
it's also just weird.
You don't really prefer that when you see them. It's if you show up with a gift under your arm and there's going to be 50 people who you don't really know because you're not really that close to their family and relatives and other friends, like, I'm your friend.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I completely get it.
All the things.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like this was a lot.
It was a lot. And like, I have a picture that comes up in my mind, so I want to share this story too. As we are sharing war stories here, I went to a summer cottage trip with my uni girls. We do that like once or twice a year. It's been ages since we've been there, all of them, because they are making babies left, right, and center, and we have a rule saying babies are not allowed. So the last time we were there and we were on the train back, it was me and two of the other women, and they were very pregnant at the time. Mm-hmm. So we were sitting in this train, the three of us taking up 3 of the 4 spaces in a foursome in the train. And a stranger comes in, a woman, and she looks at my friends and she's like, oh, you are all pregnant. And I said, no, I'm not pregnant. And she's like, oh, don't worry, it will come. And I said, no, I don't, no, thanks. And I tried to like joke it off and be like, no, I'm good. I'm off the hook, kind of like a bad joke. And she started explaining to me how much I'm going to regret not having kids. And my friends were like in shock, sitting there looking. And I'm just sitting there with this woman being like, yeah, then I'll handle that. Yeah, it's just because, yeah, I just keep saying that, then that's my consequence. She just couldn't shut up. And then she started sharing about how she regretted not having kids because she was barren and she couldn't have kids. And all of that just blown onto me. And luckily she got off pretty soon after. And it didn't really bother me because it's normal.
The fight.
With strangers.
Yes.
I have to talk about my uterus to strangers. So my friends and I, we started laughing about it and we started having a conversation like, what should we tell strangers? And it started being like this idea of how can I find a comeback to strangers that will hurt them? And like I started feeling my warrior woman coming in, like my justice woman. Like she hurt me by questioning my choices. I'm gonna do the same to her. And like really getting into that idea. Like, I gotta find the perfect comeback. And I wish I would have said that I had just had my ovaries removed due to cancer so she could have felt bad. And like it's just so insane that it is a part of my life that I sometimes think about. What can I tell a stranger when they question my life choices?
Yeah.
And I wanted to share this story because it just truly shows the absurdity of that. Because when you take that, like, and you don't think about the child, if I were to ask a stranger on the train, how is your spleen? Why are you not eating this thing that's good for your spleen? Oh, you're going to regret not treating your spleen this way or whatever it is. Like, it's so weird asking about your organs. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah.
But it happens often. I once had a skin doctor tell me off for not wanting kids. Because I had to have some kind of acne cream, and he kept saying, it's very important you're not pregnant. And I kept saying, yeah, I'm not going to be pregnant. And he's like, it's very important. And he kept repeating. And I said, I don't want kids. And then suddenly it was a lecture from this skin doctor that I'm going to regret my choice, that I'm here to be a woman, and we are... Yeah, it's just so insane.
I think we could
share
war
stories forever.
Forever. And I
Yeah.
love that you call them war stories because, again, that's really not the point here. It really is to give a different perspective, give voice to something that isn't voiced that often. I feel a release in my body by now. I actually feel lighter than when we started this conversation. So this has healed something in me, and if this can heal something in just one person, I think we did exactly what we were supposed to do, showing up in this raw, honest, crying. We promised crying. We cried.
Check.
Check. So again, this is not to judge anyone. We don't want your pity. We don't want anything. We just want to have open, honest dialogue so that we can all find the power in our own choices and then stay in our power when we stay together.
Yeah. And I want to ask the final question today, maybe. Mm-hmm. What would you tell other women who are thinking about not having children and who are in this situation where they feel scared or alone or vulnerable about it?
The best thing I could tell them is to find a friend who feels the same.
Yep. Text us. We want to be friends. You start a group.
I know it's not easy, and I know I wish there was like this magic spell to say this is just how you're gonna get through it. But this is gonna be a long, hard shift, and I just don't want anyone to do it on their own. Similarly, again, if we look at women who have children, they have these motherhood groups because they also like to be close to someone who knows how they feel. It's the same for people who have different types of abuse, who've had cancer, all these different things. when we are walking with someone, and not because we want to create this team, as I said, like us against the world, but just I need someone to remind me that my choices are okay, that my choices are valid, where I'm not questioned. It's so ridiculously healing, and this works for any area of life. We already talked about motherhood, for cancer, but both Laura and I are also deeply engaged in personal development and that whole growth journey. It's the same when you have someone who's walking the same path of life that you are, no matter how different it is. It just becomes so much easier because we're reminded that we still belong. We belong everywhere we go. It's just by default, but having someone who's resembling us in some way helps us remember how much we actually belong.
Yeah. And I just want to like remind you, you are not wrong for choosing what's right for you.
Exactly.
And just because it's a hard choice doesn't mean it's a wrong choice.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
for sure. And all choices have consequences.
Yep. And honestly, wouldn't it be worse that you got kids and you regretted that? So it's kind of like getting a tattoo on your forehead.
Yeah, back to the tattoo on the forehead.
You want to be fully committed.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so find a friend and practice staying in your power, and know that you will be questioned. But we're all questioned, and that's why we have to learn how to meet each other in a more curious, open way for the purpose of understanding rather than defending ourselves, which could bring us into a whole new conversation about
very true.
personal development, personal power, all the things we love to talk about. But I feel like I said everything I wanted to get off my chest today, and I sincerely hope that some of my old friends hear this so that they get my perspective. It's not because I want them to understand. It's not because I need to say that I'm sorry. It's just I think I owed them and myself to share my perspective.
Yeah. And also just like, you don't need to understand my choice. You can just respect my choice and accept that my choice is different from yours.
Yeah.
We don't always need to understand each other. We can just respect. We do things differently, and that's perfect. And for me, I want to say, maybe if you are one of the women who are choosing to be child-free, maybe just honor that people don't get it. Maybe be okay with being misunderstood. And maybe train your warrior a little more than I did. It took me a long time to train her. Like, I was very on the fence for years. And that's emotional intelligence work, which there's tons of on this podcast. But like, train that, because... And you also, you don't owe anyone the reason. Whatever the reason is you don't want kids, you don't owe anyone an explanation. Not your parents, not society.
Oh, we didn't even touch on the whole family thing.
Oh, no, we didn't. And I think we're going to not do that. We can come back to that. It's already an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So much to touch.
So many things. If you want us to do one more, let us know. And we might be able to drag ourselves back into this studio and talk more about this.
I'd actually say, if people want more of this, let's do it. But fire away your questions.
Yeah, that could be fun. Yeah.
Like a deepening of how we would handle this situation. Have we tried this? Whatever questions come up, because we've opened Pandora's box, and maybe there's more, maybe not, but I'm available for it for sure.
How do you feel about sending this podcast out into the ether?
Sending this out?
Yeah.
I'm actually excited. For me, it's a testament to my choice, like really fucking owning it. Not just saying it to the people around me, the stranger in the train, the new colleague, the new family member, but this is going to be available for the world?
Yeah. For me, I'm scared of sending this out. And I feel myself grabbing, like, I want to put in a disclaimer saying maybe I want to change my mind at some day and that should be okay. I feel these sense of fear coming up. Yes, I'm just going to voice it. Maybe I'll change my mind someday. I doubt it, but I want to have the right. So just because I made this podcast doesn't mean I can't feel differently in 5 years.
And before we end this, I just want to tell you what happened in my mind when Laura said that. When she said, I might change my mind, I already felt myself moving into a protection mode. Like, okay, shit, I might lose her as well. That's what happened in me. That's how fast it goes. That's how deep the wound is.
Yeah, it is. And honestly, I think I'll change my mind. But the reason I feel frantic about having to say this is because I still have that desire somewhere that I wish I wanted it. Yeah, so it goes deep. The shit's deep, y'all.
Yeah, let's maybe the perfect way to end it. This is fucking deep, and thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that we did this finally, and that we did it in this raw, honest. Let's just hold each other through it, because it's the best vibe to do this.
Absolutely. So there you have it. Let us know how you feel about the podcast, if it's good. All right. Thank you, Mette. Thank you for being here. We are completing this most vulnerable and most raw episode I have created to this day.
Nice. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thank you. Oh my lord, what an episode. As I record this outro of this episode, it's the morning after. And Mette and I, we closed the mics and we hugged and we talked about how we felt during this episode. We talked about how raw and transparent we felt. And I wanted to touch upon a few pieces as well that came up for me. As we closed the mic, I got this immediate sense of panic almost. I got the sense of panic of, oh my God, will people think I'm evil now? Was I too feisty? Did I not get my point across? Was I not loving enough? Was I not embracing of others' choices enough? My head started spinning with me, and Mette and I, we talked about it and held space for it, because that is often also a part of my personal experience, is that if I say I don't want kids, I feel like some people can mishear what I'm saying as kids are bad, and they're not. They're great. They're just not great for me in my life, having my own. And it's so interesting to see that even though all throughout the episode you've heard me and Mette constantly say, it's not that we don't like kids, it's not that we hate them, it's not that we don't want anyone to have kids ever, it's just another piece of the story. We've both felt compelled to say that over and over, and I'm feeling compelled to say that again here in the outro, because that really is such an important piece for both of us to anchor in. It's not that wanting kids is bad or wrong or anything at all. You hear me crying in the episode saying I wish I wanted them because it would have been easier, or it would have been a different kind of hard, as Mette really beautifully reframes it. Because having chosen this life hasn't been easy. And as I share, like, still some part of me wish I was just like normal and wanted this. So it's a very vulnerable episode. I ask you kindly to hold our vulnerable hearts as you wish somebody would hold your vulnerable truth as well. it's one of these episodes that I'm going to look back upon. I felt super brave for doing it. I feel super brave for doing the outro today. Today I'm going to send it to my sound guy who's going to fix it. And that also feels scary. But it's scary in an expansive way. And I hope that you also take this as an example that you get to share your truth. You get to share your voice. You get to share the things that is difficult to share, and you get to scream it out there on the internet, put it in a podcast form for everybody to hear. But like, you don't have to do it that big, but you truly get to share your voice, and you get to share the things that make sense to you, even though they don't make sense to anybody else. Your truth doesn't have to make sense to anybody else, just to you. You're not wrong for choosing what's right for you, and I want you to take that as the lesson from this episode. You are not wrong for choosing what's right for you. Whether that's a child-free life, whether that's living like in the middle of nowhere, whether that's moving countries, whether that's building a business, whether that's not building a business, like whatever it is. When you choose what's right for you, that's bravery, and I'm proud of you. You're doing amazing. Now I'm going to end this outro, otherwise it's just going to be a different podcast in itself. Thank you for listening. We truly appreciate it. If you feel seen, text us. We're right here. Like, go in the show notes, go find us. We want to be your friend, and you're not alone in this if you're feeling it. And please, once again, send this to whoever you feel would benefit from this exact story.